A-level Malay is actually the same as higher Malay. So those who do higher Malay at O-levels, when they go JC, they don't have to do Malay because the JC A-level Malay is higher Malay. I still need a mic.
This one for recording.
Oh, recording. Okay. Yeah, but the Malay karat already. So I will just, though I did get an A for O-level Malay. Okay, because we practice a lot. Gaya hidup sihat, all that we write. Then after that, you know, I memorized all the words, then I did my O-level. So the first question, what you want to achieve? Okay, so the example, what I want to achieve. I have daughters, only daughters, tak ada anak lelaki. Okay, now this is a very popular thing in the masyarakat, right? You all know when you only have daughters, who else come in as waris? Your siblings. And if no siblings, Baitul Mal, which is Muiz lah. Baitul Mal comes in the picture. Okay, so this later I will share with you something very interesting about Baitul Mal. Not about Baitul Mal, but about the idea of daughters or having only daughters. So what can you do when you only have daughters and you want to ensure that 100% of your wealth goes to your daughter? Wasiat, and then like Madam said, agreement between everybody. So your siblings must agree to renounce their wealth, their rights to your estate. When somebody pass away, whatever they leave behind is technically Malay harta pusaka, right? This is also called your estate. Not Woodlands, Newtown, Toa Payoh, that's not the estate. Estate is what you leave behind. So not everything that you leave behind goes into your estate. So this is the second part. Okay, so first and foremost, we say, okay, I only have daughters. I have siblings. I want to ensure everything comes to my daughters. Nak buat apa? Do a contract. Ask your siblings to sign. Do it in front of a lawyer, prepare your contract. Siblings sign, you are done. But if they don't want to sign, cannot lah. Then you must look at practical ways. Later I will explain. Practical ways. Okay, I better write down, I forget. I usually don't prepare. Because I give this topic so many times, I just need to structure. Practical steps. Okay. So if assuming they sign, let's talk about them signing. Assuming they sign, everything is okay, right? Everything goes to your daughters. 99.9% of the time, there shouldn't be a problem because there hasn't been a case where people sign, then later they refuse and they go to court. There was one case before, a deed, a high court case, where it's settled, but that was between the beneficiaries. But if the testator means the person yang prepare the wasiat, the person who passed away, if he already made everybody sign, usually it's agreed. We have done. Many such agreements have been recognized by the court. So it's not a problem. Now, the question is, go back same, daughters. Why I never talk about the son situation? Because the moment you have a son, everything is within the children. Siblings don't masuk campur. Only if you meninggal sebelum your mak bapak, then your mother and father have a share. If not, if you have son, and assuming the natural cause of things, parents pass away before their kids, right? Then you have a situation where it will be recognized and everything will be inside the family. That's important. Everything inside the family. So we don't talk about sons first. Focus on daughters. So now let's say I have only one sibling. Sibling is 15 years older than me or 20 years older than me, right? I am 60 example. I'm not 60 now. I am 60. I have a sibling 80 years old. 80-year-old sibling side. Next day, 80-year-old sibling pass away. Then how? What happens then? You have no more sibling, right? When you have no more sibling, who steps in? No. When you have no more sibling, Baitul Mal steps in. Sometimes the siblings' children can step in. If you look at, go to the Sharia court inheritance calculator. The Sharia court's role in this whole thing is to give you sijil warisan. That's all. You apply for the sijil. Sharia court will not deal with dispute. Okay, even though people have been discussing, should they deal with it and all, so far nothing yet. Okay, so now you prepare your sijil warisan and then you pass it over. Anything they want to discuss further, they have to go and take out the surat pentadbiran, grant of probate or grant of letter of administration at the family court. Okay, so go back here now. There is, assuming there is no brother's son in the picture. Brother's son can be a beneficiary. Brother's son, male cousin also can be beneficiary. You go and look. So there are a lot of different categories. Go and figure out. Can you show them the inheritance calculator? Maybe they have an idea. Sorry? You try and see if you can go lah. Sharia court inheritance calculator. So if we can look at it, you have many categories. You must click properly. Because sometimes people don't know. Sometimes you might be a beneficiary, but you have no idea. Because the form is taken out and they never put the person's name. So can there be cases like that in Singapore? Maybe, yeah, there could be. People don't know. People don't know because people never check. Now the other issue here, mazhab, very important issue. So Singapore kebanyakan follow the Shafi'i school. Okay, although increasingly today, I don't know about those. So this is the inherited. Come, can I use? I just show them. I sit down. So you take a look. So you put the so gender. Okay, I just put male. Okay, school Shafi'i. So assuming there is nobody, you see here, so many potential male beneficiaries. Uterine means same mother, connected by the uterus. Consanguine, same father. So all that you look, this is half. So consanguine male cousin, all that, uncle, father's brother. So assuming you don't have anybody and you just leave behind one daughter, assuming, I just want to show you the example. So this is the official site. Baitul Mal. If you don't want Baitul Mal to get, then you write to Mufti. Tell them, change Amla. I don't know. That was my Ustaz Satiza. He know Muiz more than me. I don't know. Obviously, they help with the, so a lot of things. There are certain rules which they do. Okay. So, but what if so what happened now? What did I show you all? A lot of people don't know this. 99.9% of people don't know this. What happened? So Hanafi mazhab, I mean amongst Sunni Muslim, if I'm not wrong, about 65% are Hanafis lah. So about 65 and Turkey, Central Asia, all your Khabib boxer, all of them are Hanafi. I myself followed Hanafi mazhab after 19. Before that, I followed Shafi, but my ustad from the UK was Hanafi, so I followed the Hanafi mazhab primarily lah. But like I said just now, the idea of mazhab is really something very personal. It depends. People from mixed heritage backgrounds. I have seen couples, I do a lot of divorce cases. I've seen couples, Muslim marry a Moroccan. So they also campur-campur Maliki and Shafi'i together. You see? So we must understand that as we become more cosmopolitan, more international, people don't just follow one particular mazhab fully. People may be, okay, for Salat, I follow. But if you go Umrah, if you strictly follow the Shafi mazhab, your wudu every few seconds, right? So you cannot. So that is the reality. So what happened over here? If you are Hanafi, Baitul Mal gets nothing. So who decides whether you are Hanafi or whether you are Shafi'i? Generally, people have a thinking in Singapore, generally Indian Muslim, Pakistani, largely Hanafi. Largely Hanafi. Okay, Malays, there are a few, I know, those involved in tabligh from young age, generally they also end up following the Hanafi mazhab after traveling a lot for 4 months, India, Pakistan, Bangladesh. So all these things. So you think about it. How do you decide? So here's where I give a scenario. I did for a family, their case already settled. It's not reported also. They took out the inheritance certificate as following the Shafi mazhab. But then they later told me, I just assumed that my father followed the Shafi mazhab. My father never tell me what mazhab he followed. But when I asked further question, they say, oh, my father was very active in this particular mosque, and the mosque is generally Hanafi. So can there also be a presumption that father could have been a Hanafi? We don't know. So this issue of choosing the mazhab is a very, I would say, highly, I would not use the word controversial, but a lot of thinking needs to go into it. What makes, but you're not born into the Shafi mazhab. No, you don't born at KKH, then right there, ini Melayu so Shafi'i. Ini India so Hanafi. It's not, it doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. People assume that they are born into a particular, my grandfather followed the Hanafi school, but my father follows the Shafi school. You see? So it's there. No, the deceased. What you follow, that is for your estate. This is for the deceased estate. So,
like for the waris, right? Can we just out of convenience to do more, right?
So I don't have the answer for that.
No, but is it wrong or right?
Don't, that one you must ask Ustaz. That one he jawab akhirat, not me. I'm just a lawyer. I tell you what's the law in Singapore. I don't tanggung anybody's dosa what you do. But no, but you ask a very relevant question. What do I choose? Because when I talk to many people, I mean, okay, generally, if you talk to those who are elder, those maybe in their 60s, in their 70s, and they follow the mazhab very strictly. Okay, but when I do wasiat matters for those who are younger, in their 30s, in their 40s, they say, yeah, I follow lah here and there. You know, nobody really follows 100% lah. From an anecdotal perspective, I'm not saying nobody meaning in absolute terms. From an anecdotal perspective, personally, people do mix here and there. They watch scholars online. Some watch Nu'man Ali, some watch Yasir Qadhi. Yasir Qadhi is Hanbali by and large, you know. So we have a huge mix. People watch Nu'man Ali a lot. Nu'man Ali is by and large a Hanafi. So all these things. So then on contemporary issues, they don't exactly follow one particular mazhab. So what do you choose? So this remains unanswered. So if somebody has just daughters and they don't want to give anyone else, then what should they put when they themselves don't know? Obviously, we shouldn't lie. Yeah, obviously we shouldn't lie. But then comes the question again, what if yes, I'm just asking questions. I'm not saying whether you should do it or not. But let's say I'm Shafi'i my entire life. I have one daughter. I love my daughter a lot. Then I say, but I just put Hanafi lah. I follow Hanafi sometimes. But what's wrong? I primarily follow Hanafi. But when I have seafood in front of me, I become Shafi'i. Just say how when you guys go for Umrah, you take the niyat differently, right? When you do wudu and you do tawaf. So same issue. So are you going to put differently?
So I think so. The question is, you are Hanafi. You want to identify as somebody, obviously because you want to benefit certain parties or your daughter or whatever. The question is, can we then do that? Because obviously, for example, in Umrah, we choose Hanbali because of certain mempersenangkan. We choose certain things. So can we avoid that for this?
Why not? In my view, why not? But what is Mui's directive on this? I don't know. Because technically we must understand, not everything in Islam you turn and you look to Muiz. Muiz doesn't decide what is your mazhab. Muiz doesn't decide you pray or not, you fast or not, right? They're just a body giving you guidance, directive. We put too much of responsibility sometimes on them. Like they have to tell us everything. Not necessary. You decide what you want, technically. And has there been a case so far in Singapore where a person's mazhab has been challenged? It almost went to the High Court. I found out from two of my lawyer friends, but it settled at mediation. unfortunately. No, because on this issue lah, potentially on this issue, because mazhab can have different variations. Yeah. So what if there is a challenge?
What if the person is not a practicing Muslim? So where should
Exactly. Good. Very good question. Very good question. No answer to that. Even if a person is not a practicing Muslim, but the person is generally known to be a Muslim, has a Muslim name, has a Muslim family, generally the person will die as a Muslim, and the person dies as a Muslim, Amla will come into effect lah. So if the person doesn't want to follow Amla, then the person should do a stat that renounce the religion, then the person will not. Because we know famous cases also where people have married non-Muslims, and then when they bury, they do the non-Muslim ritual, and then last minute Muiz come in and take and bury, you see. Has happened before. Some TV stars, so it has happened before. So these things, we must ask ourselves, what is the correct approach? What is the correct answer? And I think this, probably asatizas have to get together and advise the community, because there are increasingly number of people who don't subscribe to a mazhab also. Increasing number. So this is one issue lah that you can actually discuss and think about in your head. Rad is the remainder. Is quite the.
So the question for Ustaz also, right? Macam kita mazhab Syafi'i.
Ustaz,
kita
you want
nak
to-
kasih kita punya daughter, kita taruh mazhab Hanbali. Boleh tak?
You want to close?
Close.
Saya dengar, sorry. So
Let me
talking
just
about
take water first.
mazhab, this one. Saya belum pergi mendalami kepada ini, melainkan ini adalah satu soalan yang saya rasa perlu kita lihat supaya kan mereka ya. Apa yang kita cakap tu betul tak? Ini supaya juga.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
No. So basically apa yang dia cakap tu untuk kita fikirkan berkenaan dengan sedemikian. So dia bukan nak kena kasih jawapan immediate that how we want to letakkan untuk kita letakkan satu jawab akan harta kita. Lebih lagi apa yang dia cakap tu mesti be basis. Kan lebih lagi tak ada anak perempuan ataupun sebab tanggal. Dan dia balik kepada yang betul-betul apa cakap tadi kan, yang ini kita tak uruskan yang semati kan. Lepas tu tak kasi pilihan. So saya rasa perkara ini balik kepada how we want to solve it dan kecenderungan yang mana. But it's not easy as one plus one.
It's not easy. It's not easy. It's not easy. And this is
my estate, my wish?
okay. Your estate, your wish. Partially you are right. My estate, my wish. So I can do whatever I want when I am alive with my money. I have $50 in my pocket. What I use it for is my wish. But after I pass away, that $50, 2/3 must go to my family. 1/3 I can choose who I want to give it to. Maybe Singapore Cat Welfare Society, Singapore Rabbit Association. Maybe I give the money over. But 1/3, 1/3. That is the thing in the wasiat. So this is another confusion of wasiat. 1/3 means I must give 1/3 to somebody. Is that the case? No. 1/3 is an option for me. If I want to give to a non-beneficiary. That means kalau seorang tu bukan waris kita, tapi kita nak berikan dia something macam anak angkat ke, anak saudara, then you can give up to 1/3. Maximum 1/3. Tak semestinya 1/3.
Let's say your kids are very murtad, still considered as a non-beneficiary.
Kids murtad non-beneficiary dia. Very clear. Kids murtad non-beneficiary. So the case where it involved murtad was the case that Court of Appeal case that spoke about joint tenancy, and then later, a few years later, they came up with the fatwa on joint tenancy. So in Singapore, joint tenancy, by and large, the surviving owner will inherit the flat fully. But there have been some challenges recently. If you read the newspapers every day, you will realize some cases memang dia ada challenge. They say the person didn't intend for this person to take over the flat. Then they show evidence they have successfully challenged. But by and large, the general rule is usually that the challenge also happens when it's not husband and wife. Usually, if husband and wife is quite clear. Okay, but does it always mean when it's joint tenancy is very fair? That's why I always talk to people. Fairness is actually from your own perspective. So if I am advising a man getting divorced and his sister accompanies him, and the sister, the man's wife, let's say, affair and all that stuff, and then you tell that you still have to pay her muta'ah, the sister will go ballistic. How can like that? This is unfair. But if the sister comes to me for her own divorce, she will want the muta'ah, she will want the CPF, she will want the profit from the house, everything. So fairness is from your perspective. What is fair from you, you see? So we must understand this idea, because I have seen cases, joint tenancy, where a man is divorced, he has 4 children from his previous marriage, he gets married, Pakcik after 60 went to Batam and found someone who can, let's not use Batam, Batam always has a very bad, let's say maybe he went to another part of Indonesia, okay? Don't use Indonesia, use Thailand lah. Use somewhere that is not controversial, okay? Use Thailand. Thailand also wrong. It depends which part, not Bangkok. Which part, other parts. So if he did that and then he brought the woman over to Singapore, he has a house he bought after he got divorced, fully paid 3-room flat, right? And then she became PR. Slowly she became citizen. He put her name in the house, and he passed away. The children from the previous marriage get what? Nothing from the house. So fair. A lot of people, a lot of children have asked me this question when their father have a second marriage, or like after their mother got divorced with the father, they ask me, a father married someone else. How? Sorry?
It's like the wife passed away, but the kids are there, but the kids all married. So he remarried.
Yeah.
Married 1 month.
Correct. Exactly. So it's not always, there is no such thing as 100% fairness. You see your situation, what is fair? Right? You look at your,
joint ownership.
Yeah.
Or tenancy.
Joint tenancy and joint ownership is the same thing. Joint tenancy means if you pass away, the surviving owner will inherit. But some HDB flats, people put tenancy in common, TIC. A lot of people, when they purchase their HDB flat, either they are too excited to get married or too excited for a new house, they forget this basic ownership thing. Tenancy in common or joint tenancy. Joint tenancy, when you pass on, your estate will not get it. It will just your milik tu hapus. That's the word lah. Hapus after you pass on. No more rights to the house at all. The surviving owner takes over fully. Even if the surviving owner maybe only pay 5%.
Occupier tak ada.
Sorry?
Occupier.
Occupier, no. Occupier is just occupier. It's not an owner. Occupier is not owner. We must understand that.
But I think like, for example, is there a situation whereby you need the occupier so that you can get HDB grant?
Correct.
In that case, there is some sort of interest.
May have an interest lah, but the interest is not so strong to get a share in the house. Occupier is not cannot get doesn't have rights to the household.
The person like the wife passed away, you married, right? By the house is only 1%, the kids got all the house, so that house no joint agreement. What would happen with the house?
So if now there are 2 husband and wife passed away, husband is the one sole owner, husband passed away, it will go to his waris. His waris. Yes, automatically. Not automatically as in you wait automatically for it to go. They must take actions lah, take surat pentadbiran and all that stuff lah. Okay, there was a lady at the end had a question, yes. No, will cannot supersede because you see, you must understand the will is there. What you want, what can you do in the will? 2 main things. You choose your administrator. That means who is going to go to court and say, I am wakil for this person's estate. That is the pentadbir, the administrator or the executor. That's the word. Okay. So second thing is, if I want to give 1/3, I can give. I can choose up to 1/3. The word is up to 1/3. So, and then some people like to put after the person maybe got 4 children, after I pass away, whose house I want to go back to, and all that, like, as if it matters. But some people, it matters for them. Bring back my janazah to Yishun. Don't bring back to Pasir Ris panas. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe they don't want. You know, so but you can write that down. That is the purpose. Like, you want to respect the person's own sensitivities. There's some things you might be sensitive, I might not be. I might be, but you might not be sensitive, you see. So that is what the wasiat is about. Now, the agreement part, like if you have sons and daughters and you want to give equal, then the sons must also sign an agreement. Now, when you have this agreement is called a deed. D-E-E-D. A deed of family arrangement. Now, deed is, we don't, even though it's like a contract, we don't call it a contract, because contract must have consideration. Contract must have consideration. I sign up to go for Umrah with Ustad, right? I give Ustad $1,000. Okay, he bring me for Umrah. He purchased everything and all that stuff. That's consideration. Deed is no consideration. I'm giving you, no need to give me anything in return. So there are certain formalities. I must put the seal, sign in front of the lawyer. There's the contract. There's the procedures behind this arrangement. Okay, behind this agreement, as it may be said in normal parlance lah. Okay, so what you need to do, you must understand when this deed is ready, then you reference the deed in your wasiat. We have made another arrangement, but if it doesn't work, we follow faraid. But you can't just write in your faraid wasiat and do whatever you like. A lot of people have this confusion. That you can do if you are non-Muslim. So when I do for my non-Muslim clients, they say, my HDB house, everything I want to give to one son. Other children I don't want to give. So my friend, his friend is the son of the non-Muslim, son of the mistress. So the father gave him everything. Millions of dollars. The family didn't get anything. So think twice before you make the father angry or the mother angry, right? They may lose the money out. But then, okay. So these are the issues that you have to think about in faraid. Okay. But what I realized, which I also told Ustad earlier on, I said, majority of people get overexcited over faraid. Actually, no need to get excited. Now come to the thing. We always talk about HDB, but CPF is a big part of our asset. Bank account also we have, right? People also have bank account, savings, and all that stuff. How do you deal with all these things? Insurances, cryptocurrency. Do you tell your family which exchange you keep your money in? Those people. How many people invest in cryptocurrency? Maybe, yeah. You can write down, put in a safe deposit box with any of the bank. You know, these are where all my assets are. Then you get a court order, send it to them, they will disclose the asset to you. Something like that. But crypto, you must see lah. The asset might be 100,000. 5 years later, it might be $1 million. Yeah, those people who bought crypto in 2023, your value would have gone up 10 times already. But at the same time, those people who bought earlier this year, the value go down 10 times already. So you must take action fast. You need to take out the money and turn it into cash. If you just leave it there, it can be very complex and dangerous in that sense. So you must understand all the complexities when you do wasiat. But most of the time, most people don't face issues. They deal within the family. And I've also seen when it involves brothers and sisters, usually they are willing to sign off. Usually they are willing to sign off and say, I agree.
So I just want to clarify this part again regarding brothers, sons and daughters. For example, if we were to employ Shafi'i, then employ Shafi'i, son gets double, then daughter gets one part, for example. So the question is that, can we employ this whereby wasiat only one-third, right? So can we actually use that one-third of wasiat to give that additional sum to the daughter?
Cannot. So like I said before, the one-third is for a non-waris, non-beneficiary. That one-third cannot go to a beneficiary. We must understand that. But if the one-third has gone to a beneficiary and the court asks questions and the rest of the people are okay, they can lepas. They do joint affidavit of consent, can lepas. So if there's any mistake in the wasiat or whatever, or let's say the father had a pesan, like what we say, pesan doesn't have legal value, right? but the children want to respect it. Come up with a contract between yourself.
I think it's common for everyone. Sometimes the parents have only one daughter. When the parents are old age, the daughter are the one picking out the finance.
Yeah.
But when the parents die or anyone of the parents die, the one getting it is.
That's a reality.
Yeah,
That's a reality. It came out in the papers recently. Actually, there was one case like that. The son helped the father pay installments. The father passed away. He couldn't get back those payments. It happens. So, I mean, same thing I advise in divorce, same thing I advise in inheritance. Taking care of your parents is not a reimbursement process. You don't ask for reimbursement. Hey, I take care, I send and give back the money. You must also understand. Divorce, the same thing. I have people getting divorced over 35 years. They say, 35 years, my husband never give me enough. Can I take all the money of him? I say, no, sorry, cannot. Or I bring family holiday. Can I claim back the money? I say, this is not a reimbursement process. You must understand. Same thing for inheritance. You cannot say, I take care of my parent, but I want the money back now. Get the ajar lah, it's better, right? Why you want to, now I sound like a ustad, going to walk into his shoes now. Okay, but that's the thing, you cannot, unless you give a loan, official loan, and you have certain documents and all that, maybe you can take it back. So just think about it. If you want to do it from a legal way, I want to give something legally to one, a loan. For example, the father has quite a bit of money. The father gave a loan to the other son for a business. But he said, later on, you must pay back this amount. So you want to make sure it's paid back and there's no dispute between the family, do a contract. If not, it can be presumed that you just gave it over to your son. So we must understand that. Okay, we look at practical issues now. We've already spoken on mazhab. Practical steps that one can take. For example, CPF, you can nominate. Insurance, you can do the same thing. When it comes to bank account, if you really want to ensure that it goes to another person, set up a joint bank account with the other person. So a lot of practical steps you can take. So someone asked me just now, what happens if the siblings don't sign? Then you do that. You take practical steps, give a gift and all that. Now, sometimes people get a bit, again, excited in this area. They go and read Malaysia hibah concept, and there are so many different kind of hibah on different kind of issues. You must just remember, you are in Singapore. Your law, the law of the land is, it's different from other countries. So you must ensure whatever you do is recognized. There are a lot of people who do things which are not recognized.
Sorry, there is satu situation. If a person dia ada harta in Malaysia, okay, for example, condo ke landed, then they want to do a will. This is Singaporean, ada asset kat Malaysia, pass on. So how the punya?
So you need to talk on this type of aspect. I always tell people, usually talk to the Malaysian lawyer as well. But usually, if you take it out you can reseal your grant in Malaysia and you can follow it. Like, shouldn't be much of a problem if it's Malaysia. Yeah, shouldn't be much of a. But it's always best when you have different countries to go and check with a lawyer over there. Like if a Malaysian has an asset here, a lot of Malaysians, I have clients referred from banks who have assets here. But when we take out the grant of probate here, they may require a Malaysian lawyer to write whether is this person subject to certain laws. Can this person do the wasiat according to civil? So we must understand all that. So whenever you have assets, different parts, always remember to do that. It's quite important. Any questions? After pass away. Grant of probate and grant of letter of administration is the same thing. Just the grant of probate is when there is already a wasiat. Grant of letter of administration, there is no wasiat. So grant of probate, obviously, 1-2 steps, a bit faster lah in getting. But essentially, the purpose is for the person to take it and say, I am the legal representative. I want to sell the house. Go to HDB. HDB will listen to you if you have the grant. If you don't have the grant, they're not going to listen to you. The bank will not release the information to you. So I have situations where we have taken out a case where people, the son who stayed with the father says, oh, there is no more money. But then someone told another relative said, I heard your father say he had about 200,000 inside the bank account. How come no money? Then they take out the grant. Then they go and read all the bank statement. They realize a lot of money has been taken out of the account. Then that kind of situation, you can sue lah. So the problem always is, right, and this kind of situation is important. Who has the LPA? Who is granted the LPA, right? LPA is what? Lasting power of attorney. Don't go and confuse this with POA. POA is power of attorney. Like you want somebody to deal with bank issues here, but you are overseas. You give POA. LPA is when you are still waras, right? And then you want to prepare a document to say that if I cannot make my own decision, another person will make the decision for me. That is LPA. So you must trust when you give the person. I remember I was doing a talk at an event, same size crowd. Someone came up to me and said, Doctor said I'm going to pass away in 5 weeks. I want to do my wasiat. You need someone to certify. Usually lawyers do it, but just look out. People usually have free LPA at CC and all that. Keep a lookout lah. You can go and do it for free.
Yeah. There's another question. We are now talking about proceeds, right? How about hutang or debts? Obviously, when the whole estate, the reasonable thing to do is deduct the whole debts first, right? Then, right. But in this case, sometimes there is a situation whereby you divide already, you give all the proceeds to the beneficiaries. Then after that, the hutang comes, or you discover the hutang. Small amount negligible, but if it comes to a few $100,000, then how does it?
Few $100,000 not negligible.
No. The small one. Sometimes $1,000.
Okay. Then the family must sit down and decide lah, because ultimately the estate can get sued lah. If the estate don't clear, the estate must clear its debts. You don't have to take out of your own pocket to clear a person's debts. The estate, you must see, if the estate has more debts than assets, then the estate is insolvent. As simple as that. The beneficiaries wouldn't get any. I spend already, then problem. Then it's problem. Then the administrator will get into trouble for not looking at things. You may see how when the issue of the debt came and what are the liability, because we put that in the schedule of assets. So the lawyers will advise that there are steps. A lot of people think this surat pentadbiran in Malay, grant of letter of administration, people always think it's a surat. So when you tell them it costs 3,000, 3,500, they drop off all of their chair. But it's not a surat, it's a court process to get a court order. You must understand that. So then the question is, just now I asked you, all right, what is the first thing you must ask yourself? What I want to do. So if the person got no kids, the person must ask himself, what I want to do, who I want to give the money to, then decide.
What if a person who doesn't go proper channel, never do any application of bills, but he do written on a paper, then get someone to witness this? Is this recognized?
Depends. If it meets the conditions, if it meets what the requirements under AMLA, you have two witness, maybe it can be recognized. Why not?
So which entity will justify this?
The court. The court will decide whether it's recognized or not.
So if let's say in a situation that it's not recognized, what will they do?
Too bad. The will is not recognized, it's not recognized.
So will it go to Farai?
Yes. No, like I said again, the will cannot be something that is against Farai. If you can write whatever you want in your will, but then it's as good as rough paper. I don't want to say toilet paper, not nice, but it's rough paper. Crumple and throw it away. You see?
The concern that we have here is that after all, the thing is that when you do this, for example, setting up the bank account, putting in the nomination at CPF, the joint tenancy, all this, is it what concerns us is that ini macam we're trying to manipulate the Farai so that you get where I'm coming from?
Yeah, I totally understand where you're coming from.
Nanti dalam kubur, kita macam when you try to manipulate the faraid by using that's the
I mean, look, if you read the fatwas from Muiz very carefully, Muiz will always say, do your research, take into consideration the local context, you know, what we are doing and all that. So I think Muiz has done quite well in trying to explain what is CPF nomination, trying to look at it as a hiba, as a form of a hiba, you know, and joint tenancy also as a form of a hiba in that sense also when it passes on. So they discuss, they try. They leave it to you. You do your best. Now, nobody here can tell you what is going to happen in the grave. Even the Mufti come here today cannot tell you how you're going to answer it in the grave. So we just do our best. That's it.
So technically, if you only have doctors, right?
Hmm.
And then we don't have to so that if you follow faraid, then our doctors will get anything, right?
No, your daughters get, but they will get a large portion, but your siblings will also get. So mother, father, okay? Father passed away, leaving the mother behind. House is with the mother, assuming they only have the house. CPF or kosong, example. Mother passed away. Mother passes on, mother's siblings and the daughter become the waris. Mother passed away first, leaving the father. Father passed away, father, sibling, and the daughter. So it depends. Whose siblings depends on who passed away first. If both passed away same time, how? Say plane crash.
On the siblings, but the HDB, for
Huh?
example, the HDB.
No. I asking who passed away. Who? If
They
both pass away same time, how?
together, right? Then both sides of
Then
the
they
siblings.
check which part of the aeroplane you were sitting. So the elder one is presumed to have passed away first. The elder one. Okay, that is the law. The elder one is presumed to have passed away first if it's a situation. A lot of people ask me this question, especially people with young children. What happened if both pass away? How? You know, so it's a question a lot on trust, and also I often tell people,
The wife's elder is the wife.
probably yes. So you must understand that not everything is in your control. See, people expect the law to be crystal clear. The law is never crystal clear. The law is never crystal clear. You must think, you must use your brains, you must analyze, and you must, even Islamic law. They're not just four mazhab, there's so many views. So you have to sit down, you have to think, you have to analyze. Same thing for if divine law is like that, law from Allah, what about man-made law? How you interpret, you know, could there be a case in the future where Nuzuria is recognized by the High Court? Can. Perfectly possible. The High Court can go against his previous decision. Can there be? Maybe. Maybe somebody comes to me with a Nuzuria, I take the case, I go to the High Court, I fight it out. Maybe Nuzuria will recognize, then what happens next? So I understand the brother's question about, you know, we don't want to be seen as manipulating. So what we do is we are here in Singapore. The best guidance for us to get is we look at what Muiz has prepared. The fatwas, you know, they have it in Malay also, a lot of it, that irrevocable insurance, irrevocable nomination, all that stuff. Go and read up, and then plan it. And then you go with what you are comfortable with. Yeah.
Just on a scenario earlier, right? You say you only have the flat. Okay, husband, wife pass away, one daughter. So the flat will automatically go to the daughter if the daughter also join agreement.
No, the flat will not automatically go to the daughter if the daughter is part of an agreement. The flat will automatically go to the daughter if the daughter is also an owner.
But if the daughter is a tenant,
Buyer.
Joint tenant? Joint tenant can what? Joint tenant can have three also. Occupier cannot lah. The house will not. Occupier is occupier.
Has to be sold.
No, so it will have to go through the process. So if the daughter wants to buy over the house, then the daughter must see. Daughter talk to her uncles. Let's say the uncles all say we don't want, you take care. Good family. They say we don't want anything.
But
You
if the
keep
daughter
it.
is unmarried, below.
So you have to go in accordance with HDB law. That's why I say it's not automatic. The daughter is unmarried, but you must write and you must look at the situation.
Can we put our kids as a joint agreement to our pay?
no problem because you must buy a house.
No, that one is a practical issue, but whether they want to buy a house in the future. But at the end of the day, if you want your kids to take over the house, there are two parts to it. One is, it depends. Okay, whether they see the HDB rules and all that stuff, but whether how much they must pay, that is later. Last time, 20 years ago, very easy to add somebody's name in the house. Now it's not so easy. Okay, don't talk about 20, 30 years ago, you want to get a BTO, you just walk in the HDB office, fill up a one-page form. Huh? That's what my mother, my auntie all told me. Very easy. They just walk past, they look at some photo nice, they fill out a form. 2 weeks later, they get, you get the house already. Right, that was how it was before. The senior ones, white hair, maybe you all can explain a bit more. Huh? Okay, I don't get into politics now. Okay, so that's how it is. So there is a process behind it. Automatic doesn't mean you automatically get the house immediately on my HDB page. Everything will be changed. That doesn't mean you don't have to pay any money. It depends. You have to look. There's a conveyancing process behind it. Now we explain the law. Can or cannot. Later, if can, then you take certain steps to go and do it. So there are situations where the parents have passed on, and then one sibling wants to take over the house instead of selling it in the open market. Then the siblings must have an agreement, how they go about doing it, how much to pay. Then the lawyer will advise. No, okay, the wasiat wanted is an option. We must understand this. It's an option. It's not compulsory for you to give 1/3 to somebody. It's an option. If you want to give, you can give up to 1/3. That means maximum you can give is about 33.3%. Maximum. But you can also give 5%. You don't want to give, no need to give. This is if you want to give a non-beneficiary. If. Okay, so let's get back to our earlier point, right? Let's not get overexcited about the wasiat. Let's not get overexcited. Important thing is you need to have a plan. When you have a plan, the wasiat is just one of many instruments. Like Nuzria is also an instrument. This is an instrument. What's an instrument? Something to help you achieve your objective. Wasiat is one of many instruments. There's also trust. I can talk about setting up a trust, but it will not apply to most people because trust is expensive. If you have 4 or 5 private properties in Singapore, overseas property, then you set up a trust account. So when you are alive, it moves out. You are no longer the legal owner. The trustee becomes the legal owner. Then the beneficiaries get it. This is if you are very, very rich. You go and see a reputed estate lawyer and go through. But most of us, with the assets that we have, trust will be too expensive for us. So we must understand that. And there are certain things we cannot. So there are some people in Singapore who have been pushing for the longest time for people to choose whether they want to follow the civil system or the as compared to the Islamic system. Because under AMLA, we have to follow the Islamic system, right? Faraid, Administration of Muslim Law Act. But if you follow the Intestacy Act, which is for the non-Muslims, right? If someone pass on, the spouse get half, the children get the remaining half, equal proportions. Both parents not around, everybody gets equally. That's how it is. But non-Muslims, they can also say, I only want to give everything to my filial child. Other children, I don't want to give. We no choice. Anak derhaka also, you have to give. You cannot say no. But obviously, you can reduce the portion by using the practical tools that I have already explained. CPF, you can give to anyone you want because of nomination. You want to give one child more, you can. So for example, someone has daughter and son, they don't want to broach the topic. Some people just don't want to talk about this issue because they scared it cause problem in the family. And I have seen families fighting. So nobody should come and tell me that, oh, families will not fight. Families fight, and they fight primarily over money. Big fights happen. So sometimes over HDB flat also can fight. Okay, sometimes they fight over businesses, over multiple properties, both Singapore, Malaysia, other countries. So we must understand. Some people don't want to broach the topic. So what they do very simple. They say, okay, I got a house about maybe 500,000 after I pass on. And of this, maybe my son will get maybe faraid 2/3. Maybe my son will get about 300,000. My daughter will only get 200,000. CPF, I got 300,000. CPF, I nominate my daughter to get 200. End of the day, they get equal. What? So you must also employ practical methods. Don't always wasiat, 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 wanted, wasiat. Everybody gets confused. Use the practical methods. Nobody declares assets in the wills. We really don't. But it's good to have it written down somewhere so the family can find. So if not, the lawyers will usually do this. We will write to the banks, we will write to insurance, we will write to SGX. But that's all. This is a very traditional approach. Shares, SGX, we can also write to ACRA to see if the person any companies or not. Then we can go and investigate. But today's day and age, what I say, cryptocurrency, exchanges, and all that, some people may have hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of property in a thumb drive, in a ledger, precisely, in a ledger. So you need to write down and tell your family. Very important. Repeat your question. Sorry, again. Yeah. No, the nomination is the nomination is done. The will doesn't go on the nomination. It doesn't override. Doesn't override. Whatever is in your estate or whatever you own. So it's important to understand what happens when you pass away. Will everything you own, will it be up for distribution? Very important question, right? Is everything we own going to be distributed? Do we bagikan everything? Okay, dia ada HDB sekarang, bagikan. Dia ada bank account, bagikan. Bank account kalau joint account, you don't divide. CPF nominated, you don't divide. Insurance nominated, you don't divide. HDB joint tenancy, you don't divide. So maybe the person don't even need to go to the lawyer. Right? Sometimes the mother's bank account only got $15,000 and the daughter have the bank card. One daughter, one son, they say, waste money for what? We just divide. Obviously, the best way is to go and do it properly. Right? By right, you shouldn't withdraw. But I'm telling you what people do. People practically will just go and withdraw. They just withdraw and that's it, and they leave it. No, by law, it will pass on. Joint bank account will pass on by law. If you want, you must challenge. If you want, you must challenge. It's not keikhlasan. Very few people are A-class about money, you know. A-class about $2, $10, I can be A-class. Inside got 100,000, straight away the niat tukar. Your tasbih also will move faster. So don't be so we must be aware lah, okay? We must be aware of the practical situations and Singapore law when you do your wasiat. Just remember one thing, your most important takeaway. The purpose of the wasiat is to say who is the administrator. This is the most important thing. Who is going to be representative? Because people are concerned, right? If I don't say also, never mind, the person with more rights can take. If got son and daughter, the son will have more rights than the daughter to become the administrator. Why? Not because he is son, not because he is male, but because he has the largest share. So whoever has the largest share will have a prior right to be the administrator. That is the most important thing in your wasiat. Everything else is secondary.
But if the son is much younger than the daughter?
Of course cannot lah. Son 2 years old, how? Cannot. Yeah, then the daughter will do, yes. Then there's minority. When there's minority involved, the process is a bit different. They may want 2 administrators. It depends, you want dispensation or surety. Got all these processes. Lawyer will explain. You all don't have to worry. Okay, usually when people come to me when their children are very young, they usually choose 2 administrators, 2 people they trust. So I had a lady come to me and she was going to pass on. So I asked her how. She said she doesn't trust family. Then I said how? She said I just give it to my ex-husband since the money is for the children. And after I pass on, the children are going to be with the ex-husband. And I say, he's a good father. He said, yeah, he's a good father. Say, okay, good for you. Like, choose somebody you trust. You know, there's also testamentary guardianship. You can choose that, I want my sister to be a guardian to the child. But then a lot of people think when they write that already, automatically the child will go to the sister after they pass on. Doesn't happen like that. The father has the main right to take back the children, you see. But then there is an option there. If the father is irresponsible, the sister can use that to go to court and try to fight. It's not easy to take the child from the real father, from the biological father. It's not easy. People can have fights over these issues. It's not so straightforward, simply put. Watches, you also need to write down. Watches appreciate in value. Cars don't, watches do. Yeah. Jewelry, yes, definitely. Have it listed down, so there is no problem. See, the problem arises, I tell you, in what kind of situation? The problem arises when parties don't, one child is helping the father pay the mortgage. One child has spent 6 digits putting the father in hospital, home, whatever. Then they want to be reimbursed. Not because they are bad, because they just say, hey, from the estate, just help me clear, I'm not rich. Doesn't mean somebody asks back the money, they are a bad person. They just say, hey, I want to be reimbursed. I paid for this, was my agreement, because he have no money, house. He told me, you sell the house, you take back the money. I said, okay, because I also got my children to take care of. So just because a person asks for the money, we don't immediately label the person as a money-minded person. So we might understand. So that is one situation. Second situation, take a situation where I give you my own personal situation. So my dad has a company. My brother runs the company primarily. Okay. And now, if he runs the company and my dad has shares, my brother has shares, if anything were to happen to my dad, my dad shares goes to who? So my brother used to think, until I told him, that the shares will go to him. And the other partner, I said, that's not how it works. I'm also a beneficiary of the share. That's the law. I might not need to be I don't need to be a good son. I don't need to help out in the company. I don't need to even be in Singapore. I don't even need to call my father and ask, how are you? But I am a beneficiary. So we must understand the law. People get emotional. Then the uncles, aunties are coming. The thing that I realize is the worst, and I don't know why, but I see it very commonly in our community quite a lot, is that whenever people get divorced and people pass away, all the relatives suka masuk campur. And it's very bad. It's very bad. I scold my clients when they tell me, tomorrow we are going to confront her. I will say, you and your mother shut up and sit down at home. I tell my client directly, you don't need to come to me. I don't care. I don't need your money for the divorce. But I say, stop ruining the situation. Same thing when people pass away, uncle all come in the message, when are you going to give your mother back the money? Akhirat, this one. Suddenly everybody become ustad. Everybody become ustad when they do inheritance. But at night when they want Netflix, nobody talks about Islam. So you see, this is the problem, you see. So the relative all just don't get involved, mind your own business. And then you help if they need help. Like sometimes there may be somebody who is a foreigner, doesn't know about Singapore law, then you help the person, bring the person to the lawyer, advice. I know someone who did that for their own relative. Then later on, the children came in and there was a clash at my office. I said, why? They said, I don't know what this fellow doing. Who is he? I said, how I know? Your mother is the one who signed everything. So we have it and she is waras. I don't have to listen to others. They said, oh no, now she want to change. I said, you don't get involved. You sit outside. I'll ask your mother. I don't talk to the family. The family comes, I say, stay outside. Then I'll give you a free bottle of Evian water at max. You sit outside at my reception. Don't come in the room because they get very worked up later. Recently also I had a situation where someone very old, came to meet me to do the Wasiat and all these things. And then not even 80s, I would say 90s, but still steady. But he or she couldn't understand the Wasiat. They couldn't understand. They were waras. Waras is waras, can understand is another topic. Like you go and talk about quantum physics, I think the very young people over here, maybe some may not understand if they did not do maths and science and physics and all these things, you see. So when you deal with this kind of matters, it's very difficult. And then the pakcik shouted at me. Obviously, I didn't shout back at the pakcik. I shout back at pakcik. Yeah. Problem later, so I just kept quiet lah. Very old, right? Elderly person. So I don't get angry. Elderly person shout, I don't get angry. He said, you think I gila? He asked me. I said, no, I'm not saying that. I said, you must understand before I sign. Why do I want to take the risk for $500? I don't want to take such a risk. I must make sure you understand first. So the family got very angry. Why I don't want to do? Why I don't want to do? So we took leave. I said, so what if you took leave? My license is more important to me. I need to make sure this person understands. So the party used a very important word. He said, yalah, dia uruskan. Use that word, uruskan. Uruskan means what in Malay? Manage. That doesn't mean I give you the money. That doesn't mean. Yeah, I asked the pakcik, dia urus, uruskan. So you bagi tak, uruskan. So that's the problem. It's not clear. When you are giving everything to somebody, are you giving the money to the person as a gift, or are you asking the person, you uruskan for me, you manage and you give out? Some people don't understand the basics, so I'm trying to explain the word. Obviously, the family members there thought I don't know Malay, so they tell me, uruskan means, yeah, they're giving me as a please. I think I studied more Malay than you. Yeah. Not O-level, A-level. So the thing is that we need to understand these situations. When you bring the person very, very old, what are you trying to achieve? I can see through after so many times doing this, I can really see. Some people try to be funny. I have to reject them and ask them to go up. I have seen they come baik-baik. Ya, dah. Kasih kan, betul. Like that. They do all this. Very good. All can naturally join Surya and become actors. No problem. Okay, so that's why we need to be careful. We need to be careful. Even the family, when they do the discussion, they need to stop talking about things emotionally and discuss what is the legal situation. What is your right from a legal point of view, whether I like it or not. Right? Whether you like it or not. Go back to the original scenario I gave, where the father marries another woman and then the house entirely goes to her. The children obviously find it unfair. I'm sure the majority over here will tell me it's unfair, right? The majority will say it's unfair. I see everybody nodding. But the law is the wife gets. So that doesn't mean it's always fair. So you stop talking about things from a fair or not fair point of view. Discuss legally. Fair or not fair, if you really want to get involved, you join an organization, prepare a paper, send to different organizations, Muslim organizations, and go into discussions. And then you become an activist. That is when you discuss fair, unfair, philosophy, and all these things. Your role is just to know what is the state of the law. That's all. And which one is 50-50. Some things are very hazy. Some may be accepted, may not be accepted. I see situations where people ask others to do hibah rukbah. So they come and see me, and then when I talk to them, they say, oh yeah, we did hibah rukbah already. I said, how do you know a hibah rukbah is accepted? I said, when you do a hibah rukbah and you go to court to take out the surat pentadbiran, the court will ask everybody to agree to the hibah rukbah. They will ask all the beneficiaries to sign again. So the person who passed on thought I do the hibah rukbah is already done and dusted. And it's ironclad. But you go to court, the court will say, sign again. Then the beneficiary, I must sign. If I don't want to sign, can or not? Then what happens to the hibah rukbah? So we must understand what we do. A lot of people just walk into the office, prepare and go out. Don't do that. Don't make that mistake. And you must think again, the vast majority, your asset is your HDB and your CPF. As simple as that. How many of you, can I just have show of hand, only have daughter? Okay. Yourself also. You got the free advice for me so long already. So you don't have to worry lah. You know what to do already. So this thing you have to go and have further discussions for those who only have daughters. Those who don't have children, mu'alaf also, they are in a situation which is precarious because they worried. Maybe some of them convert late. They got nephew and nieces who are non-Muslims. Then how? So we must understand all these things lah. The law is not always so clear. We must keep pushing for certain things.
Kasih Zon let know. Because kita ada lebih kurang kita aim at 4 to be end. Saya rasa a lot of Zon dah share. Tapi semua dah perlu katakan mostly dah faham. Cuma ni balik kita selalu push back to you guys. Kita selalu tolak balik lah. Masing-masing tentukan keadaan sebab case to case basis dan tak semua sama. Kan? So kalau kita tengok pada slide ni, okey, pentingnya melancarkan satu je Jadi ada ni. Okey, dia ada instrumen yang mana yang just to recap balik apa yang Tino kata. Let me share. This is selalu saya akan share. Apa yang kita patut buat. This is kita go with the flow. Tadi pagi kita dah belajar tentang urusan jenazah. Lepas kematian tadi saya dengar ada hutang. Selepas berlakunya kematian tu, apa yang kita nak kena buat selain daripada kita uruskan dapur kubur, everything semua kan? Which is apa? Nombor 1. Saya dengar daripada Abang Ludi cakap hutang. Which is correct lah. Hutang-hutang kan ada selalu kalau cakap pasal jenis arwah ni ada hutang, boleh lah. Kita dengar ada waris. Kalau nak menuntut, kan? Nak claim. So after hutang apa lagi kita nak kena settlekan? Mungkin selalunya ya itu semua mungkin dikatakan zakat, all that lah, nak buat zakat harta, everything semua still dalam kategori fidyah, still dalam kategori ibadah lah Okey, fidyah and so on bla bla bla. Okey. After that, apa yang kita nak masuk? When comes to recommendation tadi tu. Ada tak? Sebab dia punya faraid will be last. Kan? Faraid will be the last one sebelum kita nak distribute harta sewajarnya ataupun accordingly lah. So hutang, mungkin dia ada hajat. Kalau mak meninggal, ni benda semua berkasihan anak yatim. Persoalannya adalah dia verbal. Itu akan ada pertentangan ke, perbalahan ke adik-adik yang lain. Kan? Mak cakap, bila mak cakap, mak tak cakap pun, kau siapa pandai bergaduh. So that's where they come in about the recommendation. That's why orang dulu punya perkongsian selalunya on the perbincangan anak-anak secara private. Apa yang kita nak ikut kepada landasan agama, dia lebih kepada hitam putih, lebih kepada penulisan, lebih kepada penyaksian, lebih kepada siapa-siapa yang diamanahkan. Jadi kat sini mungkin dia katakan apa tahu, bukan faraid, lebih kepada wasiat. Wasiat is part of it yang kita bincangkan tadi. Jadi Zul banyak kali sebut wasiat is sebahagian daripada harta perancangan. 1/3 tu bakinya dia ada lagi balance. Ke mana? Ke sini lah. Baik. Selain daripada wasiat, Zul tu katakan hibah, rukbah lah, apa lagi tadi Encik Zul sebut nuzriyah, dan juga perbalahan tadi. Jadi bila mana kita selesaikan ni benda, kita akan masuk kepada ada tak arwah ni tulis documentation? Ada tak ditinggalkan wasiat? Ada tak ditinggalkan apa-apa surat yang mendatangkan pengagihan hasrat dan niat dia? Selalu saya sebut orang Melayu kita, dia sebut wasiat. Wasiat tu pesanan. Apa yang dia kata tadi pesanan. Tapi hakikatnya kalau ikut kepada landasan agama, 1/3 saja daripada harta. So after ni kita settle baru masuk pada faraid. Faraid you cannot, dia tak boleh nak kick off like that. Dia perlu ikut kepada bahagian faraid tersebut. Termasuk dengan apa yang kita kongsikan tadi dengan calculator tadi tu. Balik pada mazhab lagi. Itu punya bab saya belum pandai nak jelaskan ataupun saya tak pandai-pandai untuk jelaskan tanpa pengetahuan saya lah. But kalau saya boleh tambah lagi kat sini adalah kita ada a few asset in Singapore. Antaranya adalah rumah, CPF, apa lagi kita ada? Bank, insurance, investment Kalau common, yang common, saya ambil yang common lah. Kamu penting-penting saya juga. Pasal apa, selalunya orang saya akan cakap juga, kita ada always four. Maybe dia boleh betulkan saya kalau saya salah lah. Basically, rumah, CPF, joint tenancy, tenancy in common, rumah. Joint tenancy, tenancy in common, CPF pula, nomination. Kalau tak, nak kena pergi public trustee untuk dapatkan, nak keluarkan, apa tu, bank pula. Bank pula tiba-tiba, kau main anak, kau tak adik pula. Itu ada drama dia start. Sebab tu saya rasa, ini benda pun nak kena betul-betul diberikan penjelasan sebelum kita ambil pengetahuan terhadap apa yang kita nak lakukan. Sebelum kita melakukan kematian. Okay? Barang kemas lagi.
Kereta, motor.
Banyak kita tahu lah. Ini saya atas pengetahuan saya yang mana saya pun duduk juga bersama dengan lawyer seperti ini, seperti Cik Hakim, I did sit together. But apa yang Cik Ridwan kata memang betul lah. Hakikatnya masyarakat kita ni kurang jelas. Lepas tu dia kedepankan dia ni faham. Lawyer tak fahamkan benda yang betul. Tapi dia tak nak, dia punya faham untuk lawyer faham. Jadi bergaduh lah. Jadi kita nak kena be clear. Saya rasa penjelasan apa yang John kata tu akan balik kepada kita. There's no right or wrong answer. Dan apa yang perancangan, dia kata kita nak kena rancang macam mana kita nak agihkan harta sebelum berlakunya kematian. Dan elakkan daripada dispute lah. Dispute tu perbalahan antara yang hidup, yang diberikan duit dan juga yang sepatutnya dapat. Okay, I think
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. So don't get overexcited lah. That's essentially the point lah.
Dia sama stress lagi.
Nah, don't be stressed. If you got 10 house, you stress, okay. Don't be stressed. 9 house, no need to be stressed. But you must also understand that all this, that's why it's good, right? I think it's very good. Bincang dengan lawyer, but at the same time, you also bincang with the ustad. So the ustad can, because not everything, Singapore law governs according to what is best in for you to do in the Islamic religion. There is amla. There are certain basic what is best for you to do. Like I give you an example, right? During the Ida period, when people get divorced, I use divorce example because I handled a lot of divorces. So you're supposed to be kind to the wife and all that, right? But you cannot go to the court and make a complaint. Husband not kind to me. Same thing. But you do what is required of you in Islamic law. You know, the husbands like to call me and complain. Oh, during the Ida, my wife go out, never ask my permission. And I said, come on, I said, wake up the idea. You know, you need to be practical. So certain things are not covered there. But you can ask the ustad what you can do, how you can make the situation better for yourself. Like, what must I do? Family come together, okay. Maybe they got certain things I need to give a fidya, maybe a niyat, maybe a nazar. All this not covered in the law. Not covered. Oh, you go and find out what nazar he make. The law doesn't cover. Some people, if you got siblings who are not religious, no, I want the money. Why you want to waste 20,000-30,000 on this issue? And then you sit down, you discuss what's best, and you do what's best for yourself. You don't go and, I always use that word, use this term, don't try to play God. You are not there to manage everybody's affair. You do what is best in your situation, what is best for you, what is best for your kids. So for you, those of you here, primarily this advice is for yourself, what you are going to do for your children and so on and so forth. So those who have sibling and all that, and you got only daughters, right? Some of you state you only have daughters. Then you plan out how you want to do, get people to sign up, discuss with Ustad, talk to him after the session and tell him, I want to do this, what is your suggestion? And then you do something to the best of your ability and Singapore law and take the guidance from MUIS. Because they understand, MUIS understands the context. I'm not ambassador of MUIS. I'm not a civil servant or working in MUIS or whatsoever, but I think it's important that we look to the guidance that they give because they understand the local context here. I remember I asked a mufti from UK, a scholar who is very close to me, Dr. Mufti Yusuf Manggera from the UK, and he's very well educated in Dunia and Okhrawi, and I asked him what is his view on health insurance in Singapore. He said, I cannot give a fatwa like that. I must understand what is the Singapore context. I don't know. So he interestingly worked in California as an imam for nearly 10 years. And then he also is living in UK, is British citizen, right? So he said that in America, he said health insurance you can take up. But in UK, he said cannot, because UK have the NHS, the National Health Service, they are free. How can you take out health insurance? So similarly, if you go and read about what Muiz has said about insurance, also they look at the context. They say you take the best decision. They at the end of the day put it back to you. If you read a lot of the guidance that they have given, the irshad or the fatwa, end of the day put it back to you, decide. So you must make your own decision. You are responsible for yourself. And don't fight over a bit of money lah. I don't think it's necessary, right, to divide the family and so on and so forth. And I think most people, especially when you have siblings and you want your siblings to renounce, they will understand. They will understand. Some people might find it unfair. Like, why must I give to the sibling? This is hukum, right? Hukum. Not everything in the hukum is explained. But sometimes some people, what they have told me is, when the men have two shares, the men have two shares also because they have their own family to take care of, and they need to, they are the leader of the household. And if there's anything the sister needs, they also need to give. So this is the responsibility that Allah has given the men. But then the ladies also complain to me, but they don't follow. How do I complain? And that's the point. You cannot complain to anybody that my brother is not following. That if you watch a lot of Pakistani dramas, they become very popular these days because they are not like the Indian dramas, a lot of vulgarity. The Pakistani dramas don't have all this. It's very nice to watch. I watch quite a few because I understand Urdu as well. So, and a big thing over there, and some of the scholars also have already stated, a lot of situation in Pakistan where the brothers don't give the sisters the inheritance. Huge problem in Pakistan. Muslim country. Islamic Republic of Pakistan. A huge problem with sisters not getting inheritance. So a lot of the dramas try to show it. Even though my husband might be rich and I have no need for the money, but the inheritance money is still, you cannot go and say he need more, you let go. So the most important thing to take away from today is, one, ask yourself what you want to achieve. Right? Ask yourself what you want to achieve. Two, don't look at things from an emotional perspective. Understand the legal position. What is the legal position? That's what you must understand. You cannot make up your own law. And three, my pesan, please don't bring the whole kampung together to discuss your problem. The kampung will ruin your life and ruin everybody's life. That is that's all I have to say. And thank you so much.
Okay, so sambungannya kat sini lah. Sebenarnya kita pun rasa banyak kisah soalan dah. Cari betul kita interaction pun very good. Kita ada immediate meeting dengan tuan. Seterusnya kita pun sebenarnya pun alu-alukan.
Oh ya, ikut-ikut.
Kita buka Discord pun, kita pun ada bincang dengan tuan. Kalau ada ni pasal ni tak boleh buka secara umum. Setiap orang ni dia ada masing-masing punya cerita, masing-masing punya masing-masing asal. Saya buat apa di dalam satu tu, tak semua orang akan cerita sama tuan dalam harta yang nak dirancang.
Okay dah, boleh. I just take a bit.
Apa yang kita kadang-kadang kalau nak
So I was explaining to Ustaz, I was seeing this kind of event. Hey, hi, how are you? I didn't see you tadi. So I was telling Ustaz also, I think it's good to do a lot of this kind of small event as a build up to a forum perdana. It's better. 30, 20, 30, 20, because the kind of information I give, I can guarantee you, Ahmad Nizam Muiz also don't give this information. Rishwan Mazhab. People don't know. So they see the questions they ask, you know, and I don't need prep. Know the topic and I hear. And this question, all I hear, every time I hear people come. You have sons and daughters. One son, two daughters. Or you have three lah. I have two sons, one daughter. So you have two daughters, which can go Jannah easier. Whoever take care of two daughters will be with the Prophet in Jannah.
Tapi dia takluk kepada 1/3
must take care lah.
Siapa penerimanya?
You must try lah.
Mesti orang luar. Orang luar tu bukan anak sendiri, bukan mak,
House
bukan
business,
apa.
okay.
Kalau ada
This year
usul tentang
we get to focus a bit more on growth, especially with Ustaz.
dia
So that
penerima orang
so
luar
we
lah.
can
So Himaya is one entity.
yes.
Then Hilal is another entity.
Apa lagi?
Then what else?
Usul ada pengamanan.
Atau is mainly the jenazah management side. So jenazah
Siapa yang
management, we do the
diamanahkan?
monument, especially the dapur kubur. That is Ibla atau
Amanah.
and Himaya because Ustaz came in with that already. He has the ICP and ARS under Himaya, so we continue with that entity. So Al Hilal does everything else. The
Soalannya boleh tak kita tak orang yang
So
penerima.
Umrah, you all bring people lah for Umrah.
but we don't have tourism license.
Don't have?
We don't have the tourism.
Why never
license.
apply?
Not there yet.
Oh,
Haven't got to that stage.
Kata dalam surat mesti datangkan dua saksi lelaki. Kalau perempuan, 4 saksi
Something that
perempuan bagi
we
lelaki.
are looking at
This
doing,
is what I also did.
but we haven't got there yet. But this year for Kurban we bring people to the border 40 packs. Very good.
you all doing
So
lembu.
ini benda kita nak tahu siapa.
Lembu, kambing,
I go Batam.
Penerima dia siapa,
Every year I go
pengamanan
Batam.
siapa, saksi siapa.
We're following a group, private group. Batam, they doing it at $280 one goat. A bit high because not easy to bring the goat into Batam.
Okay.
If you see a lot of the groups, they don't do it Batam. Usually they do, expensive to do in Batam. Police ask a lot of money. Masjid ask money, the authorities ask money. Even when they bring the masala, because we hire a cook to cook for us after Korban, cook biryani. Then bring masala, so they ask buat apa, we're doing business here. So kita nak masak lah untuk orang. That's the problem. It's not, this is a non-profit organization, so they don't charge anything profit. Anything extra, they give out to the people. So this group, every year, Ramadan, they will go there, they will give sugar, oil, rice, milk. The group
From Singapore?
in Singapore.
It's a Singapore group, but
Singapore, they will go and give all the rural Batam islands. Pulau Pisang, Pulau Panjang, all these islands. Take a tugboat, 45 minutes, go out, and then you go there. They don't have anything, they don't have meat all. So I just go help out. Because I went to Johor once. Johor rabak. Very bad. Very bad. They hold the goat leg.
yeah, just for because they have like Rohingya refugee camps, not that type.
No.
In JB.
They hold the goat leg and just drag out of the lorry, goat fall. And they bring other goats being slaughtered, they bring also. You cannot slaughter inside. So in Batam, they do properly. They wash the area, then they bring the next goat. It's like that. So when once the goat by right see the knife already, you cannot sharpen when the goat is seeing the knife. There's a hadith. So I always tell my volunteer, take the ear and cover the eyes. I do that. That's actually the proper way. I did a lot of research. So you will take the ear, you will cover. I will ask the Indonesian fella cover the eye. Give him $20, he happy. So you stand there when I'm doing, and I saw one time. We use normal knife. We don't use this one. Cow, I don't dare. Maybe one day I follow you all. Next year I follow you all.
You also never try cow before. Sheep, goat have done before.
Cow is the main knife.
Like that was besar.
Very noisy. Cow. But Johor is rabak. What's I see?
Local breed.
Okay.
Dengan risiko yang kita ambil, dengan apa lagi aset yang kita nak kena tahu, dengan amanah yang kita simpan, dengan penjelasan yang kita nak make sure berjalan semua dengan lurus. That's a very of the original costing. Jangan lupa ada tak percaya apa yang dijelaskan di tu sampai semua tu complete. Itu yang ikut konteks kita Singapura. Kita tadi timbulkan persoalan ada aset kat Johor, kat Pasir Mas. Pasir Gudang. Dekat mana okey? Pandan City ke, Forest City ke, ada aset kat sana. Jadi mungkin you ada some of kind of thoughts apa kan. Jadi ini semua adalah ada anak yang tak ada anak, Dulu saya pernah tahu, saya pernah dulu arwah Ustaz jalan. Saya pernah bersama dengan dia.
Remove this one.
Saya pergi rumah makcik dia Wasiat. Jadi dia kata, kau Wasiat dia nak buat apa ni bang? Dulu saya pun timbang lupa. Tapi dia kata, video ni anak ni. Dia anak angkat saya. Tapi dia punya pin tu pin suami dia.
Jadi dia punya keadaan apa? Keadaan dia situasi yang bukan sesuatu, dia just anak angkat tapi dia adopt, IC dia letak nama suami dia. Dan dia tak tahu sebenarnya budak tu adalah anak angkat kepada makcik ni. Now dia nak buat hibah rubah, dia nak buat documentation lah. So I think that episode for zaman sekarang saya rasa tak ada lagi lah anak angkat jadi anak betul kan. Jarang berlaku, cuma sebaliknya lah. Dan lagi satu is common, I think cerita sama juga, sama rata. Pembagian harta sama rata. Apa suami, anak lelaki dapat, anak perempuan pun dapat. Itu benda tak boleh buat kat sini, nak kena buat dokumen, appointment lah. Untuk kita dapat penjelasan, jadi kita pun buat pencerahan. Sama rata. Tu cakap saya anak lelaki tak jaga, anak perempuan jaga. Tu je orang kata tadi, jangan kita buat keputusan secara emosional. Dan sebalik kepada kita untuk tentukan harta kita agihkan macam mana. Okay, sebab cukup boleh? Okay, so dah ambil dah ni, kalau nak buat appointment, kalau tak ada pun nombor kita pun ada, saya pun boleh. Semua orang ada nombor telefon saya, boleh mesej saya secara individu. Dan kita sebelum sampai kepada pihak Cik Rizwan untuk buat documentation, pastikan saya pun jelas dan semua orang jelas adakah perkara yang nak dibuat ni boleh dilanjutkan dengan documentation atau tidak. Okay. Kalau tak ada apa-apa, kita boleh kasihkan tolong kepada Cik Rizwan dan juga lain semua kat sini. Apa yang ada, insya-Allah mungkin kalau ada lagi sesi macam ini, kalau ada lagi orang tentu pertemuan ke ataupun lesson macam ini, insya-Allah kita akan adakan. Might be kita akan adakan dekat Masjid Sultan kita rancang, tapi after musim haji lah, after musim kurban. Tapi untuk hari ini kita rasa dah cukup banyak berkongsian lah. Selanjutnya kita mungkin ada barang-barang yang kita nak share. Mungkin ada orang nak beli madu kat situ 25, nak beli minyak wangi kat situ pun ada, nak beli yang kayak saya lupa tadi, batik lepas kat situ pun ada. Tadi patutnya nak share, ni saya dah habis. Batik lepas. Ya, kontak tu. Tapi yang paling penting sekali adalah appointment dengan lawyer dengan harta pusaka yang ataupun harta perancangan yang anda mungkin nak dapatkan pencerahan. So kita ada banyak aset kat Singapura ni, kita ada simpanan, kita ada apa lagi? CPF, kita ada HDB, kita ada bank, saving, insurans, rumah, CPF. Saya rasa ada yang belum nomination belum. Saya rasa bank pun tak tahu macam mana nak agihkan kalau dia meninggal. So itu semua nak kena lebih berikan penelitian lah. Okay. Apa-apa lagi? Tak ada apa-apa? Ya, sorry. Ya, betul. Tak ada. Tak ada. So, dua perkara yang ya, betul. CPF, insurans, CPF dan juga rumah. Kalau suami meninggal, isteri akan dapat 100%. Yang menjadi masalah selalunya ni bukan mak saya Ustaz, ni isteri kedua bapa saya Ustaz. Tu yang Cik kata, law is law. You cannot argue with emotion. Faham tak? Dekat situ je kena very faham clearly macam mana pun dah berlakunya undang-undang sedemikian. Jadi ini satu gambaran saja. Jadi kita lihat kepada situasi kita, apa yang sebenarnya kita perlukan untuk kurang-kurangnya kita dapat aman dunia dan akhirat. Okey. So far so good. Jadi kita tutup dulu. Terima kasih kepada semua yang hadir. Cik Rizwan, terima kasih. Cik Farhan, Cik Zaki, Cik Kozamat adalah partner dari Al-Hilal, Himayah dan juga Taubah. Jadi tadi tu kita dah kudus yang datang daripada awal sampai ke petang ni, terima kasih banyak-banyak. InsyaAllah kita ada one more lesson setiap hari Ahad dan Sabtu kita ada kelas pada Ain lah. Saya share again kita punya ni timetable kita, dan insyaAllah kita tak ada kelas for upcoming hari bila tak ada kelas. Sorry saya banyak sangat ni saya pun dah lupa mana. Where's my jadual lah? I think so. Ya, okay. So insyaAllah kita punya kelas ada balik minggu depan last. Lepas tu kita tak ada 8 Jun. Kita pergi Cambodia, alhamdulillah. Saya, Encik Farhan, Encik Abu Zaman pergi Cambodia. Dan harap-harap siapa-siapa yang buat ibadah korban, antara sunnah yang kita boleh lakukan on the first Zulhijjah, jangan potong kuku, jangan potong rambut, sampai ibadah korban tu dah disembelih. So you check with agency yang siapa yang anda dapatkan tempahan korban. Kalau dengan kita tu insyaAllah kita akan buat update. Dan juga siapa-siapa yang buat tempahan korban melalui kami Australian kambing nak terbang ke Singapura, alhamdulillah kita dah kerjasama dengan pihak Shakira. Siapa-siapa yang berhajat nak masak, nak rasa daging korban tu dimasak dengan si berani, upahnya adalah sekitar $5. Okey. Dan masa kita buka, masih lagi ada, cuma yang tak ada Cambodia, kambing dan juga lembu. Yang lain masih lagi ada. Dan harap-harap ibadah kita boleh yang kita buat yang terbaik. InsyaAllah tambah lagi, kita digalakkan juga puasa sunat pada 9 Zulhijjah, 1 hari sebelum Hari Raya. Hari Raya Haji kita jatuh pada 7 Jun. 7 Jun adalah hari jadi saya. Okay, my birthday on 7 Jun. Don't buy anything. Don't buy for me Ferrari. Cukup dengan doa saja. Okay, so selit juga nak juga. Okay, itu saja. Terima kasih banyak-banyak. Kita tutup dengan tasbih kafarah dengan surah As. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Subhanakallahumma bihamdika asyhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Wal 'asri innal insana fi khusr illa allazina amanu wa amsalihati wa tawasaw bil haqq wa tawasaw bis sabr. Wa sallallahu ala sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sallam. Walhamdulillahirabbil alamin. Terima kasih semua. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much.